Hello. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. This full moon in Libra day. Committing to going live Monday through Friday for 30 days. Uh, it's like, what am I going to talk about today? And then just go talk. Go out with the horses, listen to them eat, which I just love. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I just drug the field because we had some rain, and so I have a little tractor and a drag behind it, and it just makes my field look so good, and it's so satisfying to my Virgo placements, which I do have. I'm in my nodal return, and so my north node is Pisces, and my south node is Virgo. And if you're not familiar with the nodes, north node, south node, the north node is really where we're headed in life. So the south node is kind of the karmic stuff that we come in with. We've done this before, very good at it. But with Virgo in the south node, for me, letting go of control and perfectionism is a big theme. And right now, everybody on the planet has that is the nodes where the planets are right now. So when I look out on the world stage and everything that's being blasted at humans, yeah, it's letting go of control, perfectionism. And I know that it's kind of cliche when people talk about new moons and full moons, letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore. But that is what the energies are good for. And thanks, pal. Hold on, pal keeps shoving his hay all around. So I just was like, okay, just let go of the perfectionism of needing to know what you're going to say. But with this Libra energy, it's really about letting go of, they're looking at relationships, and are we getting as much from them as we're giving? Even in our careers, is it satisfying? Are we getting in return for how much we're giving? And I think that that's just so apropos for the world stage. The stories that we've been, or the conditioning, that programming that we've had, that are we getting as much out of it as we've put into it? And being able to let go of those systems that are collapsing without being afraid that we're going to lose everything. I know that that's the theme for me is, I've invested so much. What if I lose everything? And when I sit with that, it's like, I'm just losing what doesn't serve me. I have complete and total trust in the universe that I'm okay. And that's what a lot of the Year of the Snake energy was about, was shedding, stripping, so that no matter what comes at us, we're okay. And it's okay to change your mind with career, relationships, because authenticity is really the currency that's gold. I can't remember which study it is, but as far as like vibrations and stuff, the highest vibration is authenticity. And so really stripping down and asking in this full moon, like, where's it off balance? Libra, the scales of justice. Where is it off balance? Where am I giving more than I'm receiving? Where does it feel off? And I would encourage anybody that's wanting to make big decisions in their life, as far as whether it's a job or relationships, anything in your life that feels off, that taking the courageous step of saying no more, that's what's being rewarded right now, is letting go of the white knuckling of things that no longer serve us. And it's more than ever right now, and we've got Venus in Taurus. Venus, you know, the Venusian, Taurus, the finer things in life. And what can we release to bring in those finer things in life? What are the finer things in life for us? It's going to be different for everybody. But having the courage to make and take big leaps of faith. You know, last year my horse Paladin had a pretty long injury that it got me questioning whether or not I wanted to continue doing horse medicine. And I'd been doing this for 15 years, and did I still want to do it? And then Paladin recovered, and I was able to ride again. And yeah, I know, bud, huh? Yeah. And the answer was yes, I definitely wanted to still do it. But I had to really restructure it. And that's when I started designing and sitting with the land for my private fire horse retreats. What kind of client, what was my soul client for those retreats, looking at my offerings, starting to look at like online sort of stuff. And today I had a meeting with a great group of women in regards to developing different offers that I'm looking at putting out there. And I just had to kind of step back and say, okay, it's too much on my plate. I'm overwhelming myself with so many ideas, and how can I narrow this down? What feels right in my body right now? And what feels right is to quit putting launch dates on things. Like, I've committed to doing this Monday through Friday for 30 days, and this doesn't feel overwhelming to my system. I mean, before I came out, I'm like, what am I going to talk about? But it's not overwhelming to my system. I enjoy doing it, and I'm learning a lot from it. It's helping me develop those things that I want to put out as far as offerings online, and being able to reach a wider audience for people that, you know, can't come to Sedona and work with the horses with me. I do online, like Zoom stuff. I can do sessions like that, but to broaden that. And then I just had like an overwhelming sense in my nervous system. And that's the thing with doing subconscious work. You get to know your nervous system so well. You just start to know thyself in such a beautiful way. And I just sat down. I did a quick 6-minute new neural pathway building exercise to make room in my system, to expand it, to look at all these things that I'm thinking of at once and slowing it down and giving space between them. And then it didn't seem so overwhelming. It's like, okay, now I can, and you feel it in your nervous system and I'm very committed to, hey pal, to doing new neural pathway building exercises. I use the tools every day, and they have become such a part of my life. It's a lifestyle, because my nervous system is always on, but it's about knowing when it starts to feel dysregulated. And the more that you get to know yourself, the more that you really like, oh, okay, like for me with ADHD, for example, I can feel the overwhelm coming whenever it has to do with technology. And then I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. My brain gets overwhelmed. I feel stupid. I feel like I'm behind because, you know, all this technology, and I don't know. I'm not good at it. And it's like, okay, it's all going to be okay. So that's when I use the new neural pathway building exercises, is I go down and sit with my inner child, and I go right back to where this started for me. And then I feel a sense of calm. I've pattern interrupted, and then I can go on with my day. And it doesn't have to be this pressure that I put on myself to have everything right now and to know everything right now. That's not realistic. It's not fun. And as a generator, of course I have things that I have to do with the horses, and there's things I have to do every day. I have Airbnb. Like yesterday I was going to come out in the morning, but it was raining. My trimmer came to trim the horses' feet, and then I had a last minute Airbnb booking. So I didn't make it out here with the horses in the morning, and my brain instantly went into, well, okay, I said I'd do this Monday through Friday. I committed to Monday through Friday doing this, and it was like, okay, but life be lifing. And that's a perfect example of progress, not perfection. I did it in the afternoon, and now it's 12:41, and I'm doing it now because we had rain all morning. And being kind to ourselves and being kind to my nervous system, and it always gets done. It'll always be there. I don't have to overload myself. But true to my kind of early childhood programming, and having that South Node in Virgo, so perfectionism and really you get control. I spent a lot of my life in survival mode, and control and perfectionism is how I made it through in a system that my brain is not wired for. I bet. And so part of me with this system collapse is like, yeah, it's going to be great for ADHD brains, in the sense, fast and loud, and I'm a Leo, Sag rising, a lot of fire, a lot of air in my chart. Like, I can do this, and it's very outside of the box, and my brain loves that. But then there's also the part of me that, oh, hi brother, that very much, have a life that I'm in the system. I can't just not make money, but to align my soul with knowing that it's all going to work out. I in complete trust and faith that the universe is my bank account, regardless of what's happening on outside me. And that's something that I still am. I don't know that I'll ever not have to. I'll always be doing new neural pathway building work. It's a lifestyle. But I'm now really starting to feel this flow of this new energy, this fire horse energy, this new system, new earth, new human energy. And okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm starting to really feel that, instead of just knowing that it's on the horizon. It's very much integrating. And if you haven't explored new neural pathway building, somatic exercises, nervous system work, or subconscious work, I can't say enough wonderful things about it. It's changed my life. I believe it's saved my life. And so it's a big part of what I do when I work with private clients with the horses or coaching, because I've done the work myself. And I don't even like the word coaching. I hate the word coaching, actually. It's more a guide. Like, you have the same, it resonates with you. Well, here's some tools that I've used, and it's changed my life. And like I said, saved my life. Because I did spend a lot of my life in survival mode. And it hurt to be in my body. I didn't know, I wasn't taught emotional regulation at a young age. Having trauma, it just becomes people pleasing and surviving and managing everybody else's feelings, and not even knowing that I had them, or entitled to be with them and to set boundaries. I mentioned in one of my lives before that I thought I had boundaries when I got married. I thought I didn't even really think about the fact that I thought I had boundaries. It was through my divorce, being cracked wide open, which intimate relationships have a way of doing that, that I was able to really finally go in and do the deepest work I've ever done. And that came and from the horses. Horses are just the best. And so often I just sit out here and I get co-regulation with them, just listening or my dogs that are out here right now. I don't know if you can, that's Annie. So animals are great for that. But the new neural pathway building and then the somatic release together are really quite a beautiful set of tools to use. And I'm big on ritual, very big on ritual, not just new moon, full moon, but in the mornings. Do I need to release? And I look at the moon cycles for sure, but maybe it's in a new moon phase, but I still I don't feel like manifesting. I feel like I really need to release. Then I do a release. Script my day before it starts. I set the tone for my day. It's a lifestyle. And if you're committed to being the best version of yourself on any given day, these are what I would say are very valuable tools, because it's not going to slow down. What's happening right now is just really the beginning. Hi, Heather. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Nice to see you. It rained here in Sedona the last couple days. Oh, here come the boys. You can see they're all muddy. Okay, they're all muddy. They've been loving it, running around and rolling in the. Let's see. Oh, they're gonna probably take their masks off, which I put those masks on. I put their masks on like 20 times a day. People ask me, like, why don't you ever go do anything? Yeah, I have horses, and they've got blue eyes, and so I have to put their masks on all day. And my office is out here, so. But yeah, new neural pathway building, somatic exercises, just being in the physical presence of horses. And knowing thyself. You know, so much is coming. I can't tell you, like, all my private retreat clients have been they've been broken wide open and they're truth seekers. I love truth seekers. That's my favorite. I jive with that. And our neighbors have show horses. I see them every day. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're pretty amazing. They are. Yeah, they really. Well, if you think about it, civilization is built on a horse's back. You know, dog and horses just have this amazing connection to humans. And I'll tell you, horses, and I've said this for years, they are holding a frequency for us. And now, I mean, they're still working with us in such a huge healing capacity. I look out at my horses some days and they're just off kind of looking. Paladin, he'll just kind of be looking off into the universe, and I just know they're just holding it down for us. Oh, they're gonna. They're playing pretty rough. You know, I pinch myself every day. Gypsy Rose, cowgirl, great name. I do pinch myself every day. And I will say, this is why I talk about True North so much, like connecting with your inner GPS, your divine mission, I'm such a believer in it. When I moved here to Sedona and I was done with, I just knew I didn't want to do my radio show anymore. I just wasn't, you know, my show was called Overground Railroad. It was politics, sex, religion, the occult, and spirituality. And I had this deep passion in my heart, feeling like I needed to really just talk about freedom, liberty, what that meant. You know, I was talking about back at 25 years ago about the Federal Reserve, and you know, and I was a real oddball in LA, right? And when I moved to Sedona and started my own network of broadcasters, after a while I was just like, and it's very much like the energy right now, like that's in the air, like what is it that doesn't feel like it's giving back as much as you're giving? And that's how my show started to feel. So I was just like, you know, maybe I just need to be outdoors more. I'm not really a mountain biker. I'm not really a hiker. Not that I hate those things. Hi, bud. Hi, sweetie. Not that I hate those things, but I just wasn't finding any satisfaction. I wasn't satisfied with my life, basically. So I was just going to shovel shit and be back around horses, because I did have a horse growing up. I barrel raced and stuff like that. And I answered an ad, and it just didn't work out. Bye, Heather. Have a great day. And sorry. And so I answered the ad, but it was too far. It was up in West Sedona. If you're familiar with Sedona, I'm down in the Village. It just wouldn't have worked out. So I said, thank you, but give those horses a kiss for me. And she said, I think there's a video you're supposed to see. And it was Paladin's showcase video. And that was it. It was right before my birthday. I saw his video, and I just knew I'm getting a horse. And Paladin's born on 444. And I wasn't even in the place, like, we didn't have a horse property. There was, it just wasn't even, it seemed so far away. I was just going to shovel shit. And now here, all of a sudden, I see this horse, and I'm like, I just know that's my horse. So I went and saw him on my birthday, which is maybe 2 days later. And that was it. And I went out and got a job. He wasn't my husband at the time, but I told my ex-husband, I got a job working at the cafeteria at an old folks home. And I said, I will always pay for the horse stuff. If I'm going to have a horse, that will be something that will be mine and my responsibility. And, so I went out and got a job, and then Pal gave me the image of, we're going to do horse medicine together. And here I am 15 years later, and I have shown up every day. My horses have never missed. At the time I had one horse, now I have 4. And I have a horse property, and that's what I do, is horse medicine. And sometimes when things were tight, I went and I cleaned restaurants. I had other little waitressing jobs. I've never not shown up for my horses. They've never missed a trim. They've never not had everything that they've needed. And all along the way, because I didn't give up, everything that I've needed has shown up. Everything. Everything that I've ever needed. And it's grown. And it's expanded. And I've expanded. And I say that because right now I know that things are they are what they are. They're very interesting, and it's complex, and it's a lot coming at us. But when you're connected to your true north, your inner divine mission and inner guidance, your inner GPS system, and you weed your garden every day, legions of help show up, and everything that you need shows up. So, well, that's my live for the day. I didn't know what I was going to talk about, and it all flowed. So, again, if this is the first time that you're watching and you're just, tuning in, I'm Kimberly, and this is Sedona Horse Medicine, and I do private fire horse retreats. I work with astrology, human design. I love doing ritual as well. We design those rituals together. If that's something that you don't have to do astrology and human design or rituals to work with me. That's not something that you have to do. It's just something I love to do, and I love sharing tools that have worked for me. And if it sounds like something that you would want to align with, then you can go to sedonahorsemedicine.com, and there's an application for the retreats just to make sure that we're soul aligned. And I also do 1 day, half day, single sessions, and I do online stuff. So, but you can check out sedonahorsemedicine.com, or you can find me on really any of the socials under Sedona Horse Medicine. So I'm sending you all sorts of love under this Libra full moon. Again, really checking in with where does life, relationships, job, maybe anything in our life, or definitely anything in our life, feel a little off balance, or where you're giving more than you're receiving. and how can we make adjustments to release that, so, and bring ourselves back into alignment as we get ready to continue on with this amazingly fast and loud year. And everything's going to be in Aries here in a while. We're going to have the last little bit out of Pisces, and then it's going to continue to take off and ramp up and get fast and loud. So, okay. I hope everybody has a beautiful day. Thanks for hanging out with me.